Fire Mage and the mid-range Hunter and the Tempo Rogue, which was able to defeat Muzzy in his previous head-to-head, and quite possibly was
in terms of how his lineup functions.
Yep, another deck that is having middling results, but we'll figure out what it actually means is Bomb Warrior. Bomb Warrior is a lot more of an even spread of matchups. You look at Control Warrior, the decks it beats, it absolutely crushes. It's not even close. So, however, some of the decks that it loses against also feels very polarized. Bomb Warrior feels like it gets right in the middle of that, and that's no different than Tempo Rogue matchup.
Yeah, we heard a lot of players talking about their decision to bring Bomb Warrior or Control Warrior. Warrior was one of the most popular classes, second only, I believe, to Rogue in this tournament. But there was a pretty significant split whether players were playing Control or Bomb. We're seeing, you can see most of the Control Warrior decks tomorrow. But the rationale behind playing the Bomb Warrior deck for a lot of players was, well, it may not be as powerful against Rogue in the matchups where it's really good. It is much, much better in the matchups where people are trying to target the Warrior decks. We saw, for instance, the Bomb Warrior deck take down Mid-Range Hunter earlier today. And that's one of the decks that people brought specifically to try and beat Warrior.
Yes. For better or for worse, it's had okay results. Can't really tell one thing just from a couple games, but overall, Hunter does tend to get that edge of the Warrior. And the Warrior has still been able to perform regardless. You look at, for example, Killinallday's Bomb Warrior, it has a lot of rush minions, and just having that Town Crier makes things like this Henge Clan Thug very vulnerable to that Militia Commander that can come out and just ambush.
Yeah, Militia Commander is one of the real superstars in the Rogue matchup in particular for exactly this reason. There's not that many ways to just cleanly kill a Henge Clan Thug. And even on the coin here, Killinallday able to get that out in time to prevent that Thug from ever hitting his face.
Yep, but equip the Waggle Pick. There's no weapon removal in Killinallday's deck, despite the fact that he knows that he's banning Warrior and going up against Rogue. But he won't really need it if he's able to set up good defense lines. He has a lot of removal, and he has that Zilliax ready to go. But most importantly, he has Dr. Boom Mad Genius. That card is the superstar of the deck. You're talking about, the Golden State Warriors of all-star teams. That is the MVP of the deck.
I think Dr. Boom's more of like the coach.
So he's Steve Kerr?
Yeah, sure. Dude, I don't know basketball. I do know that
Fair enough.
Was it the Spurs coach Popovich?
Yes.
He's supposed to be like the best coach, right?
He's one of the most respected, probably one of the best coaches.
Yeah.
That being said, I totally know what you mean. Like, he's kind of the one like directing everything.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the one that keeps the glue of the entire deck because it gives all your mechs rush. The hero powers are very versatile, and of course, just being able to have big tempo swings.
He's the one who has a master plan, much like Dr. Boom.
I feel like he's always improvising it, though, because he says now would be a really good time for a master plan.
Well, every turn he gets a different button. You got to run a different play,
Yeah. Oh, so it's more like football coach.
Okay, fair.
Now, HCT, he has the Heist Baron Togwaggle, the new legendary minion that we've seen in action a few times. I really like it in Bunny Hopper's deck. What do you think about it putting it in these Pirate Tempo Rogues, though?
I think part of the idea of playing Togwaggle in a deck like this is that it gives you just a little bit more oomph, right? It gives you a little bit more power against a deck like Warrior, where maybe they have their Brawls and Warpaths, but they use those to kill your early game boards or mid game boards, and you have the ability to follow it up with Togwaggle to try and just give you one more big push to finish the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, a lot of times we see people picking, I think the most commonly picked treasure is the Crown, whereas I think the best, highest win rate treasure is the Wand. And the Wand is giving you this extra sort of reload that is just super, both value and tempo, right? It's just so powerful.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the treasures, when you play like the Dungeon Run, years ago, you're thinking, wow, these cards would be really fun to play in Standard because it's just really broken, right? That's what you were thinking about back then.
You used to get them off of like Mare the Fox. And you're like, ooh, I hope I get this. It's like, no, you just get what you want.
Right.
Whatever you want, it's yours.
And even though he's able to get that, though, Yang is not able to really set up anything on the board. This is part of what Warrior is able to do. Even if you're playing that bomb variant, you can still just play removal.
Right.
And just exhaust your opponent of resources. And it's up to Yang to present a threat that'll force Killinallday in a bad position. And he's also relatively safe leading into that Dr. Boom turn.
This guy's toast.
Just picks apart the Dynamatic, sends 5 damage in, so no more armor for Killen. But yeah, as you mentioned, there is Dr. Boom.
Yeah, it's a relatively safe board to do it, too.
So, with 2 copies of Shield Slam in hand, he's going to go for it. With 2 copies of Shield Slam in hand, there's some argument to trying to preserve your armor up hero power or potentially use Dr. Boom plus a Shield Slam in the same turn. But Killen just wants to get that hero power rolling.
Yeah, I think what's important also is that any mech that he draws now will have that rush as well. So the hero power upgrade is certainly a nice quality of life adjustment. However, it's the fact that anything that he's able to play now can contest the board, and that's what makes Rogue's life super difficult. And this is why many people consider Ward to be the counter of Rogue, because they try to set it up. However, usually what you can do is set up burst from hand. I don't think Yueying's hand is telling him that, though.
I think one of the things we're seeing in Yueying's hand right now is part of the reason not everyone's playing 2 saps. A lot of players cut sap entirely. Some players play 1 copy of sap.
Or Togwaggle.
And yeah, and right now, we're seeing tempo Togwaggle. Is he going to swing with the weapon? Bounce one of them back?
Yeah, I mean, Yueying recognizes that the situation is bad enough where he has to take action. And, now Killinallday, his 3-mana 3/3, as people usually joke about Clockwork Goblin, is actually a pretty decent minion when it has Rush.
Yeah. I mean, Killinallday can just use his hero power plus Goblin plus Shield Slam to clear this board if he wants.
Yeah, pretty much can choose whatever.
There's a variety of ways, right? Can just fire out Warpath, as it appears he's doing. Warpath and hero power.
And I think from here, Yueying's going to be really dependent on Myra's Unstable Element.
Yes. Yeah, part of, I think, Killinallday's specific decision here, and he finds a Blast Shield. The Clockwork Goblin is particularly powerful in combination with Ziliax to give you that 6-attack rush minion to gain life once your opponent actually gets into your health total.
It's a really funny and cheeky play that you can use to sap the whelps that go into your opponent's hands, fill it up. I don't think it's very practical, but something that Yueying has to find use of these saps, because when you sap a lot of the minions in this deck, they're going to have really good battle cry and rush effects. So a lot of times you don't want to sap Ziliax, you don't want to sap Dynamatics, definitely don't want to sap other really powerful things that shuffle bombs in your Myra's Staple Element.
Right.
So for a second, I'm like thinking, why not Leroy and sap these minions, fill up the hand? I guess he could just find other ways to get there, though.
And Wrench Caliber picked up.
Yeah, I mean, Killen even has an opportunity to go for a giant mech here. Can combine the Clockwork and the Ziliax. Does feel a little bit unnecessary, though, given that he's in a really good spot.
Yeah, and I think when you have Blast Shield, you want to use Blast Shield. Because, you only have a 25% chance to get Blast Shield on any given turn, and that's assuming you didn't just get Blast Shield the previous turn. Yeah,
Yep, I think it's fine.
I'm a little surprised he's going for the Ziliax here, honestly, because it is so powerful in combination with additional mech. And he does have the opportunity to just potentially Shield Slam this down and get the Wrench Caliber online.
I think I like the Wrench Caliber Clockwork setup here because it also dumps hand for the Omega Assembly.
It's true.
That being said, I still think Killen's in a fantastic spot.
Yeah. There's absolutely, he's absolutely in a powerful position here, and we may see these saps just used as you mentioned.
Well, yeah, also dump the hand.
Right. With Myra's in hand, you want to empty as much as you can, and Yueying recognizes, okay, well, I'm on a clock here. Raiding Party is a no-go. Does nothing once your deck is empty. Van Cleef can be powerful. But yeah, it's still a rough situation here, and oof, there's the bombs.
Yeah, so, I mean, Killen has this opportunity now by shuffling the bombs in, he guarantees it. And I think that's his hold from the previous turns.
Sure.
His previous turns like, okay, well, his only way to win this is to Myra, and if he plays the Unstable Element, I can shuffle bombs and guarantee 15, 20 damage over 2 turns.
Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. And here, he wants to use the Shield Slams for sure before his opponent starts burst damaging him. He knows there's a Leroy in the hand.
Right. I mean, this is extremely one-sided. Yueying does not have 29 damage next turn.
There's a Hecklebot with no drawback. There's a Devastator.
That's even better.
Face me, you adult amateur.
I like it.
You addled amateur.
There's absolutely zero rush here, pun intended, for Killinallday to end the game.
Right.
But this overdraws, which is really annoying.
Right.
Yeah, this is the one downside of bomb effects. Same thing with Hakar's Mark or Corrupted Bloods, where if you have a full hand, it doesn't activate.
All right, well, Miscreant is the hero, hopefully, for HCT here. Finds a Kobold and Faceless Lackey. There's a prep sap available.
Yeah, he's going for the biggest, thickest, fattest Van Cleef.
Blood and plunder.
This Van Cleef looks like it's a 12-12, which is fairly important to survive the Omega Devastator's attack. Oh, sorry, 14-14.
Even bigger.
But with the weapon plus the Omega Devastator itself, it's still enough. Just goes to show you just like the raw power of that card.
Yeah.
One card answers a 7-card combo.
Yeah, the Omega Devastator here, plus even if the microbots can take out the pirate, take out the Van Cleef, send some bombs in. I mean, right now, Killinallday is just trying to figure out, is there a way I die, right? Because there is Leroy Wagglepick.
Yeah.
So
is there a way he dies? Is there a way he lethals?
Like, I'm actually just looking. Yeah, is there a way to kill your opponent? You know, you could put what 3 bombs in the decks. That's
right. And plus
15.
2 fatigue. So
wait, that's
18,
actually 15,
20?
16,
Close.
17, 18.
Right, if he attacks with the face of the weapon, he goes down to 19, shuffles 3 bombs. It's not enough.
Yeah,
but this is still very good.
Pretty close to lethal when you kill your opponent's stuff, and you're at 25.
Okay, Hecklebot having rush, that's just not fair, man. That's cheap.
He heckles something and then just punches him in the face.
I know!
He starts the fight and gets to finish it.
Thinking if any faceless lackey shenanigans can come up huge here for HCT, but I'm blanking out.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that matters there from the lackey.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to bounce this Miscreant, perhaps, with the Wagglepick, trying to find something.
And he's guaranteed dead next turn because Killen has those bombs.
Right.
So there's nothing really that HCT can do in this position in the following turn. He has to win this turn, and we know that's not possible. Unless he's able to gain a bunch of life or stall out his opponent's ability to play those minions.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of any possible 2 off the face. I can't think of anything meaningful.
I mean, there's ways you can, like, disrupt.
Right.
But it's not like, very substantial. Okay.
All right. Well, now he finds, like, a Ethereal Lackey into Cold Blood.
Right? Things like that.
Got some charge.
I mean, he's getting good stuff.
Yeah, he is, but it's still just not close to enough, right? He's sending in 4 damage to the face.
I mean, it's an impressive push nonetheless. Imagine you play this all out. It's still 12 more damage. He got Killen within single-digit range.
Yeah,
that's very impressive.
But bombs away. Here it comes.
Somebody order a bomb. Have I got a
And they have rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap it up. Killinallday going to crush Tempo Rogue with the Warrior. And this right here is on full display why Warrior is such a fearsome class for Rogue to go up against. One of the very few classes that can stand toe-to-toe very confidently with this class.
Yeah, Rogue was the class that was probably the top of most players' mind coming in, but Warrior was not far behind. Those are the 2 classes that players really had their...
I've been here for so long, I think they lose all sense of time. I don't think...
You have to set a timestamp to have any idea.
Extremely skeptical it took 3.5 hours.
But
we'll go ahead and go into the VOD to look at it. In the meantime, let's focus on the present. We have Warlock up against Hunter. Zoo Warlock has definitely struggled a little bit today on stream. And, so much so that people like Hunter Ace use, trash talking Zoo a little bit. Not the players, just saying the quality of the deck. He's like, dude, I think Zoo's just not good. And I'm like, well, it's like consistent. He's like, yeah, people like it because it's consistent, but it's just not good. And I think obviously he's biased. He didn't bring Zoo Warlock. But what do you think about Zoo's performance so far?
Zoo, I think, seems pretty solid. Not this draw from Killinallday, though. You're playing a deck that is essentially all 1-drops, and you do not have a turn 1 play. If anything, I think the deck that has underperformed so far in this event has been Hunter. Hunter has been a deck that a lot of players brought to this tournament that was not really necessarily expected by sort of the world at large, because it's not a deck you see a lot on ladder, and yet it's one of the most popular decks in this tournament. And a big part of that is that Hunter is a deck that is very strong against non-rogue decks, or at least is purported to be. However, I believe, I don't know the stats from the last match, I don't recall if there's a Hunter in that match. There definitely was, but going into that match, I believe the Hunter's record was something like 2-6. It has just gotten demolished so far.
Yeah, and one of the players that's able to grab crucial victories is HCT.
Yes.
Against Musley, when he was able to establish the scavenging hyenas with the Unleash the Hounds. And that is the real key linchpin of this entire matchup. How does HCT utilize Unleash the Hounds? Does Killinallday have the ability to set up and be resilient against it? And you can see that Killen's already conceding the board. He's life tapping on turn 2. This ain't Handlock. This is Zoo Warlock, and he's going to have to figure out a way to utilize Grim Rally to do exactly that.
Right, and HCT, he has all the tools that are extremely powerful in this match. He has the Scavenging Hyena, which Killen's got to be happy to see, given that he has the Henge Clan Hogseed in his hand, which has been quietly kind of an all-star for a number of decks in this format, giving you a minion that also doubles as removal.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Argent Horse Rider from the Grand Tournament. It was a 3-mana 2/1 charge minion that had Divine Shield. And it's not very imposing, but it had so much utility and usefulness. But at the same time, never felt broken, despite it being very good all the time.
That Hatchet is a very powerful draw from HCT here. He does have it activated right now. He can use the Hatchet to chop down the Voidwalker along with the Lynx and clear off his board.
Yes. And the fact that the Hatchet has a lot of durability charges gives it so much usefulness against a deck like Zoo that plays minions around that health.
Ooh, he wants the damage. That could be dangerous against a Grim Rally deck.
Yeah, that's definitely something worth considering. It's not like, I guess maybe he's trying to tempt Killen to make the trade for him, and then if it doesn't, he has the opportunity to get, say, a Dire Frenzy and land it onto that.
Yeah, I suppose with Timberwolf Unleash in your hand, you think it's probably fine if your opponent has a mid-game small Grim Rally here.
It's true. And Killen with the Knife Juggler might extend exactly onto the board here. It doesn't seem very strong because of the threat of the Hatchet.
Right.
I am very afraid to try to full name that card because I feel like it's a tongue twister in itself.
Headhunter's Hatchet.
And I wonder if, I was going to say exactly this. I wonder if Killen, because he's considering how weak his Knife Juggler setup is against the Hatchet, will just opt to life tap instead.
Yep, he does.
And I think this actually is something that HCT was considering too. In the past, this is a matchup that's actually been around since the very beginning of Hearthstone. Mid-range Hunter versus a Zoo Warlock. And one thing that Hunter started doing was just clearing the Zoo Warlock's board, because the more they life tap, the stronger their hero power gets as well. So if you clear their board, it's almost like you're on a mini quest. The quest is clear your opponent's board, deal 2 damage to your opponent.
Yeah, when both players are trying to kill the same player, you don't deal the damage to the same player.
Yeah. If you're trying to do a challenge friend request, it is actually the most optimal way to do it. It's Warlock versus Hunter. You just get the quest done within like a minute.
Just with hero powers.
Yes. You actually have to, you can just concede at 15 health. You don't actually have to go down to 0. So it goes down really quick. So once again, stuck in the same position. This is kind of the painful thing about losing the Voidwalker, but the difference is Killinallday now has that Grim Rally for that extra mana slot. Gets that juggle.
Get in there and fight,
Some big moves making for Killinallday. He's extending onto the board finally.
All right, we could come in for 6 damage here, and yeah, he actually does a couple of things here. 1, he gets the Juggler out of range of the Hatchet. 2, he actually consolidates his board a little bit, so Unleash is a bit weaker than if he had that full board. But the Unleash plus Timberwolf plus the weapon, I believe, can still just clear everything off, especially with Bestial Wrath.
Yeah, the Bestial Wrath. That's the second time we'll see it today, being utilized really well. Just one of those things where Shimmerfly, you don't really expect it to be that great, but it's got that whip spinner effect. Sometimes it just gives you that utility of having a beast on the board, and sometimes it just gives you the right card you need in that situation.
Sometimes all you need is a Core Hound, hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need a Bestial Wrath to keep your Hound alive.
Mark shot does clear it.
Yeah, I think that from Yueying's perspective,
Oh my goodness.
Master's Call, wow. That is a value card off of an Unleash. Or rather off of a Mark shot. Here, Yueying, he's biding his time. The deck that Killinallday is playing is very predicated on building a big board. It's a Grim Rally deck, it's a Sea Giant deck, so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him to use Unleash plus Timberwolf, and it doesn't feel like it needs to be right now. Ooh.
Oh my goodness. So this is one thing that Killinallday was specifically talking to us in the interviews.
Yes.
He's saying, why aren't more Zoo Warlock players just playing Bloodsail Corsairs to remove weapon charge? It's so good, and it kind of trades off 1 extra health from a Crystallizer with having amazing utility in a meta where weapons are very good.
Yes. I mean, most players were expecting Rogue, obviously. The Rogue decks with the Waggle Pick, where the tempo of 1 mana kill your Waggle Pick and bounce a minion to your hand is absolutely brutal. Also, I mean, here with the popularity of Hunter, the Headhunter's Hatchet. I was going to screw it up, like you were saying.
Hatchet, yeah.
That's also quite powerful. Now, a little bit more resilience for this board.
Right. Now Yueying is also stockpiling counterattack measures.
Right.
If a Sea Giant comes down, he has Unleash the Hounds, Timberwolf, and Kill Command. If there's 7 minions on the board, that's 19 damage? No, sorry, 17 damage? I guess if you hear power, it's 19. So it's one of those like really scary things where Killin has to be sort of careful with how he extends if he doesn't have any taunt minions. But more importantly, can Yueying get to that threatening range where not only is he answering the board, but also having that backup counterswing?
I wonder.
And it feels like that's sort of what the best way to answer Zoo is. A lot of people, they just try to like answer Zoo 1 for 1, but they're so good at being resilient on the board like Token Druid while putting on pressure that it feels like you have to do a commanding sweep of the board instead of just like trading 2 for 1 every time.
Oh, there's a Hyena. So, Vicious Scalehide. Pick off first bite is Mekaru, perhaps, or combine with the Spring Paw, take something else down. Yeah, going to take out... No, he's going to go ahead and take down the entire body of that Bloodsail Corsair.
Yeah, that's actually a little bit more of an interesting trade because there is a lot of use for the Mekaru's bot for things like Evil Genius.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I guess they're still relatively the same thing, but now your opponent gets to hit with the 1/1 and then use an Evil Genius.
And this is an opportunity for the Sea Giant to come down, but Yueying does have that Timberwolf plus Unleash.
But if you're Timberwolf Unleash trading, I think that's a good spot. They invest a lot of their mana to do not much development.
He does have the Scavenging Hyena.
Oh, the Hyena, though.
But
right.
he doesn't have the ability, he doesn't have enough in order to guarantee that he doesn't just leave a Sea Giant on the board. I'm trying to look at like what Killen's turn looks like here, and then what does Yueying's turn look like after it? Because there is the Direwolf Alpha into Sea Giant. Attack here, and then attack phase. This leaves 5 minions on board for Killen. Yueying does have, if he unleashes, so Unleash plus the Timberwolf.
Yeah, plus the Scavenging plus the Lynx.
Well, is this, so there's no way to get that this is like lethal damage, right?
It's not lethal,
yeah, it's
but
like 10 if you kill command.
We saw, what, was it like a 22 attack Scavenging Hyena with Yueying against Fuzzy?
And the Beast of Wrath here too, coming in for another +2.
Love it.
To keeps him his board around.
Dude, he's playing so fast.
He is. Here I am trying to like math out, okay, what all happens here, and now everything's already dead.
Yeah, the one thing that you need to know is that Killinallday needs to deal with that Hyena stat. And he's got no way to do it.
That's a big fella.
Yeah, I'm looking at things in his deck that can help him in this position, and without a Magic Carpet, even if he had a Magic Carpet, it wouldn't be enough right now.
Yeah, we're talking about how Hunter had struggled, but it was Yueying with that big Scavenging Hyena who was able to get the job done before, and it looks like he may be doing it again here. Kill command in the hand, plus that Hyena in play. I think it's lights out next turn.
Yeah, I mean, in Killen's mind, if he plays Flynn Mimp, he's conceding the game. But if he doesn't play any minions, he's also in trouble. And that is the nature of the Unleash the Hounds Scavenging Hyena setup. And I gotta say that it's been so clutch for HCT. It does make me feel like if you're going to account for decks like Zoo Warlock, the decks that are running one copy of Unleash the Hounds are going to struggle a little bit more.
All right, well, this does leave 15 on the board. Another Unleash if he wants it.
Boom.
World record damage for HCT available, but he gets the exact lethal here against Killinallday. We'll tie up the series 1-1.
All right, so the best of 5 becomes a best of 3 with the quarterfinal spot on the line. Pretty quick one. And we're going to find out as we get close.
Call that gave him the Hyena.
Right.
And,
exactly.
You know, compared to, say, Bunny Hopper's list. Bunny Hopper does play the 2 Dire Frenzies, only 1 Mark Shot.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And then it's one of those situations, if you didn't have that one copy of Unleash the Hound, say it was a different card, and you just drew that one, he'd be in a lot more desperate situation. So, you know, we can chalk it up to deck building victory. We can chalk it up to maybe Killen shouldn't play Zoo, but you know, in the end, we only have the results to speak for themselves. Let's go into game number 3 immediately. Zoo Warlock versus a Tempo Rogue, where the Tempo Rogue, I mean, they do have the edge, but I feel like Zoo Warlock's been given it a lot of stress throughout the game.
Crucially, HCT's version of Rogue here is in fact one that is not paying any respect to the threat of token decks. It does not have a single copy of Fan of Knives.
Okay, that's really weird to me because he's playing double Unleash the Hounds, but he has no Fan of Knives, which they functionally feel similar in terms of how you're going to round out a lineup.
Yeah, this is the deck that we saw that struggled in game number 1 with those 2 copies of Sap with that High Spear and Togwaggle.
Right.
You know, going in a bit of a different direction. It is interesting. You know, he is choosing to ban Rogue with this lineup, which I suppose does make sense if you're playing the sort of more anti-mid-range-ish version of Rogue yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if you Fan of Knives doesn't do anything against Warrior, just put that out there.
Yeah.
It is just fairly interesting to me though, as a concept.
Ooh, and this is you know, a powerful play from Killen. The Corsair coming down. It does make the Hench Clan Thug much less of a thug. Just a 3/3 if it comes down this turn. And that was a card HCT kept in his hand, by the way. This was actually something that some of the players backstage were mentioning in his first match. HCT kept a Hench Clan Thug against a Zoo deck. And some other players are criticizing that decision because, you know, if you don't have your backstabs, you don't have your SIs, you know, that's a pretty weak card to sort of fight for the board.
Exactly.
And you know, here we see, you know, in particular against Killinallday's deck with the 2 copies of Bloodsail Corsair, it is not looking good.
This looks like it's going to be a huge turn here for Killinallday. Oh
yeah.
my
Abusive
goodness.
Sergeant into the Egg, into a Voidwalker, into a Grim Rally. And this, by the way, is a list of Zoo that has 0 Fan of Knives. Not that Fan of Knives would be good enough here to kill all these 2/2s and 2/3 and 2/4, but he can't even running Fan of Knives with preparation.
Yeah. That being said, this prep rating party is
Always still
saving
good.
grace.
Still good. You know, it will give him the Waggle pick plus Dread Corsair.
Or ×2 maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nope.
doesn't pick it
Just
up.
a 1.
It's actually a fairly big deal. This
Yeah.
spot. Had he be able to drop double Dread Corsair, he answers the board completely.
Yeah. It's true.
Is that an abusive Sergeant off the top? Killing all day.
Flame
it's a
Imp.
Flame Imp. It looks so close to him just getting a really good trade.
And this 3/3 is actually a pretty big deal here because, you know, it does eat 2 of these.
Yep. That being said, Killen has the ability to have these lackeys make big plays. Faceless lackey goes wide.
Faceless really good.
Like you mentioned, without the ability for Fan Knives to come into play, your HCT struggles with wide boards. I mean, Rogue already struggles with wide boards.
Ooh, interesting. So Crystals with Kangor here, you know, does make the you know, race you, kill you plan a lot tougher, right?
Yes.
It's going to gain a decent amount of life here, possibly for Killen, if he's able to find any kind of buffs for it. Yeah.
Yeah, but this utility off the Waggle pick to clear off the minion board, fantastic. And you can see the Waggle pick in full effect as a defensive card.
Yeah.
Also good.
But, you know, the Killen still has 27 life left. He's going to get 2 more from attacking with the Kangor here.
Ooh, nice. Nice.
Magic Carpet is the draw. He can attack and kill the SI with this Kobold Lackey.
I thought he had 1 extra mana crystal to be able to play both. Does
Just
not.
short. So 27 for Killen. HCT has done well here at picking apart this board. Second Waggle pick comes down. Will take out the Kangor here.
That Myers Unstable Element draw is massive, Kibler. The fact that HCT, I mean, at one point, Killen, I think, was on the I'm going to outvalue you through the hero power, or sorry, out-resource you through the life tap hero power and grab the board. Oh, hold on a second.
Second Corsair drawn.
This game is going back and forth like
really
crazy.
Is. That Waggle pick is gone. No chance to green skin it.
And now HCT is under significant pressure because he can't deal with this Magic Carpet without sap.
And this would have been so different here. It would have been a Waggle pick in play, green skin for additional durability, plus Deadly Poison to even allow him to take out the Magic Carpet.
Yes.
But instead, is this going to have to be Leroy killing a carpet?
Oh, man. That feels like a losing proposition because you're giving your opponent more minions on the board for Grim Rally, for a better Sea Giant, although you do have sap.
It does, but what's your plan? I mean, you could hero power green skin here, kill a 2/2, leave up a Magic Carpet, and your opponent just keeps throwing things into your minions.
What about... Okay. No, you're right. At the same time...
You can sap the carpet and then do what? Get a green skin. Okay.
Well, yeah, if you sap the carpet, it doesn't feel nearly as effective because they're at that mana where they can just kind of play the carpet and have full benefit anyway.
Right.
Because their deck is all 1-mana minion cards, so if they just play the carpet and life tap, they're most likely going to play that.
And now Killinallday can play Mekaru, Sea Giant, trade the Mekarus for green skin.
Ridiculous. This is such a
it
powerful
even
turn.
still leaves him with a wide board because they're Mekarus. So even sap here isn't that effective at dealing with the Sea Giant.
Yeah. And Rang's running out of life. So
Right.
things like Myers Unstable
He's
Element,
down to 12.
it's going to put such a fast clock on himself. It almost feels like he has to Myers Unstable Element now. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to get the benefit of having a couple turns to set up big swings.
Yeah, so if he were to sap the Giant, play Myras. He could even sap the Giant, play Deadly Poison, play Myras.
Yep, that gives him the ability to play Dracosaur immediately, and then utilize Backstab in preparation if he needs to do anything else.
He could draw Backstab and kill the carpet there too.
I like it.
Okay, so that's definitely happening. The question is what else
I
is
think he
happening.
played the Myers.
Yeah, I think he's going to Myras without the Deadly. So he gets one fewer card. There's Dracosaur too.
I'm
Yeah.
out of cards.
One fewer card.
I'm curious what he was hoping to draw that he did not want to play the Deadly Poison first.
The only cards in his deck is Southsea deckhands. But he's already played one.
And he drew one and didn't play it.
And he didn't play the Dracosaur either. He doesn't want his... He wants... Okay, so I think his plan was to not play minions, force the Sea Giant to be max cost, and then go for like a sap and like a tempo play afterwards, but he's still not going to get there. Right now he has Leroy, Eviscerate, Southsea Deckhand for 12 damage plus the 4 damage dagger.
There's apple on your head.
That's not going to get there. That's
Right.
that's not even half of Killen. Well, that's a little bit over half of Killinallday's life.
All right, well, the small minions, the Joey bots, send themselves in. 1 damage fatigue.
Blood and plunder.
And, yep. He can take out the Sea Giant at least.
This guy's toast.
And
play
in
his
doing
Van
so,
Cleave.
play a Big Edwin.
Right, but I mean, Killen also is pretty close to ending this game. Although, I will say this Edwin is very fearsome.
Yeah. All right. Well, you go down to 4, and he has what, 16, 22 next turn. He still doesn't have lethal.
Right, he also dies in fatigue.
He dies to fatigue in 2 turns.
Yeah, so it seems
So,
like he's dead no matter what. then.
I don't see a way that this wins the game. Killen kills one of these on board, you attack for 19, and then the game ends.
Yeah,
right?
So Killen probably won't even life tap if he can math it out. He has to evaluate where are all the cards I've seen.
Yeah, I
He
think
just saw an Eviscerate.
right. You play Sea Giant attack in. That's the best chance of winning because your opponent dies to fatigue in 2 turns.
Right.
There's zero reason to try and do anything else. And as it is in fact what Killen does, there's fatigue for 2. And there is 19 damage available to HCT, 20 with the dagger. That's not enough. Killinallday leads 2-1.
Zoorlock with a huge victory over the tempo rogue. Zoorlock unfavored against it, but you saw that. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that actually backstage, playing a deck that Hunter A showed me called Miracle Mage, where you book a Spectre to Mountain Giant, but the main game plan is to play Questing Adventure with Mana Cyclone, and you just go absolutely nuts with it. I'll show you afterwards. It's pretty funny. And
it's a Book of Spectres Mana Cyclone deck?
Yeah, it sounds weird, but it actually works a lot, assuming you don't play against Warrior. I just have to show you, man.
Okay, all right.
I know you're skeptical right now, but when you watch it in action, you're like, oh my goodness, this is the sweetest deck in Hearthstone.
I've played some Book of Spectres decks, and I've played some Mana Cyclones decks, but I never played a Book of Spectres Mana Cyclone deck. So.
Yes, exactly.
But
all I'm going to say is this, Kibler. Have you ever coined a Mountain Giant? With that deck, you can, and I'm not joshing you.
Big draw for HCT here. Picks up a Twilight Drake on turn 2 to enable his Fire Tree Witch Doctors.
Yeah, that's really big, especially because he has a Mountain Giant in hand. He can keep his hand size really, really big. The thing is, though, Power of Creation is really late.
It is.
It's a really late game card. I think the game often is too far into motion unless Power of Creation just gets you direct charge damage, like the Reckless Rocketeer or the Argent Commanders.
Takes a Flame Strike. Flame Strike is pretty bad in this matchup, I think.
Against Chef Nomi? Yeah, I'd say so.
I wonder what the idea is with that pick. All right, HCT has another Witch Doctor, which does help enable.
I think maybe he's hoping the second one gets a Blizzard, so you can Blizzard into Flame.
Sure.
That's how you coin Mountain Giant, by the way. I think that's actually the pick.
Evocation?
Yes, because then the Mountain Giant, well, it costs 5 anyway. It's fine.
I like the Fireball.
I forgot that
I want to kill my opponent.
I forgot that he can play it anyways next turn because he draws a card. I forgot this counts. But that's how you do it in that deck.
Okay. Spoiler.
Kibler does not believe that this deck is good at all.
I am skeptical. All right, HCT does have the Giant, and he has Calling in hand already, though Killinallday does have the Mass Hysteria, which is an excellent answer.
It doesn't really do that much here. Takes 4 power off the board.
Well, I'm saying if the Conjurer's Calling comes down the Giant,
right,
Mass Hysteria is an excellent answer. But here, yes, I would say that you do not want to play with Mass Hysteria.
Well, he does draw the Acolyted Pain. That's a really crucial card for his hand in particular right now.
Right.
Must consider.
He could play the Acolyte Wild Pyromancer into Circle of Healing plus another 0-cost spell.
Yeah.
He's starting with Regenerate.
Yeah, Circle of Healing would get the 1 damage first.
If you start with Circle, yeah. He was about to start with Regenerate, but if you start with Circle, you can play Circle into Regenerate on your Pyromancer, and then play Circle again if you want to draw more cards from the Acolyte.
Right, yep. And then you heal your Acolyte for an extra draw, too.
Right.
It's like you're talking about.
That does find a Gadget Stand, though.
Feels very hard to not use Power of the Creation in this spot.
Yeah, I mean, you get to hit your opponent for 8.
Conjurer's Calling.
Yeah, you get to hit your opponent for 8, and then you actually would really like to get the 7/8s. If he gets the 7/8s, then they don't actually, if you get Grave Horror, they don't die to a Mass Hysteria. But he did not. He got another Giant, so now this is an opportunity. Killen can just attack into one of them and play Mass Hysteria and clear the board.
That's right, and then the threat has been abated for now. You know, for a minion-heavy deck that plays barely any spells, he's holding an awful lot of spells.
He really does.
Cards.
He has more spells than...
a lot more spells.
He has more spells in his hand than are in his deck. Actually, that's not true. He's the same number because he does play the Power of Creation.
It feels like that.
It does.
It's fairly close. Oh my goodness!
Oh no, actually, he has 7 spells in his hand.
Are you serious?
Jeez. Giant number 2 with Conjurer's Calling number 2
okay,
with the Twin spell.
This actually works out fairly okay. Well, works out okay for Killen, but like he actually has the version of the deck that can handle it because he has 2 Mass Hysteria versus a lot
he doesn't have one in his hand, and he's at 18, and his opponent has 2 Giants and a Fireball. So right now he's looking pretty dead.
Yeah, that Lizzo scheme is fairly recent, right? So we can't go
Just
for a
drew last
topsy-turvy.
turn.
Oh, boy.
I think Killen's dead. I don't think there's
I think so,
anything he can draw
too.
at this point, given the fireball. I mean, this is what we're talking about, how much pressure this deck can put on. HCT did have a very, very powerful hand.
Yeah, I mean, that Mountain Giant draw was just absolutely, like, the nuts. And hey, second Mass Hysteria, just a little bit too late.
Yep.
Topsy-turvy, let's do a scheme. I mean...
Okay, well, scheme for two. Scheme for two
Oh,
here,
regenerate.
actually. Okay, and rejuvenate. All right, regenerate here. The scheme for two, 14. So he's actually, thanks to this, just out of range of these 2+ fireball, right? Oh no, but
I think
the,
it's
but, the,
exact
but the
lethal.
ping, yeah, the ping does it. Fireball ping. No.
After all of his efforts, futile.
And yeah, that fireball off of the fire tree coming up big here, giving HCT lethal damage and forcing a game number 5 with his rogue deck, which probably one of the toughest matchups for this one.
I would definitely say so, although I would say it's a better matchup than the mage, at least statistically.
They're both tough,
Which might
for
be
sure.
surprising, but at least it's not Warrior. Warrior would be just an abysmal matchup, which is why he banned it specifically.
Yeah.
HCT has
I think probably make at least the mage matchup much better, as we saw last game.
Right.
It was the second Mountain Giant draw that was a really big problem.
Yep, and holding on to this Lazul scheme, pretty useful with the topsy-turvy for spot removal.
And does have that ooze. HCT with a waggle pick in his opening hand, at least drawn off the top, and that ooze is a big component in keeping that from being a ton of damage. Raiding party. All right, well, we may even see HCT just prep the raiding party here to at least prevent the possibility of the dead draw from the second waggle pick. Does not, though. Chooses to stagger up.
Yeah, I think the idea is that if he picks up, say, the Evil Miscreant, the
Yep.
prep raiding party says with the combo, or
true.
Edwin Van Cleef. Killen hesitating, like, do I play the Acidic Swamp Ooze here? Absolutely not. Recognizing its power against the waggle pick and his raiding party with Captain's Greenskin.
All right,
it's
well,
going to be a party, all right.
deckhand 1 and 2 coming through. 4 damage to the face. Does swing with the dagger here since there was no Hench Clan Thug. Killen has an Acolyte.
Yeah, I mean, you know your opponent has waggle picks. You're trading your Acolyte for a card. And, living for 4 extra life.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot because obviously, the Acolyte in combination with Wild Pyromancer, as we saw last game, can be very, very effective. However, Killen does need to find a way to not just die to this board. So,
Right.
The absorption of damage from the Acolyte, I think, is appealing at least.
It's a force play. He wants him to play waggle pick so that way he can use the ooze. Thing is, the ooze is going to bounce back a minion.
And there's another Waggle pick. Wait,
Another waggle pick with more damage.
Nomi, which is not a card you're looking for as long as you have cards in your deck.
This is not looking that good for Killinallday. This is one of the kind of decks that's out there at Hearthstone, which is extremely dependent on cards like Auctioneer.
Yep.
And, Killen doesn't have any signs of being able to live to the Auctioneer.
Yeah, Auctioneer decks are extremely effective if you get to go up against slower decks, controlling decks. Much less effective if you are getting your face beat up and you don't have time to find that Auctioneer and go off with it.
I wonder if Killen wants to Seance this ooze. Seance obviously is fantastic with the Graveheart,
Yeah.
but we're not at that point where like he can even get to that.
Yep, that's exactly what it looks like he's doing. Give me use number 2.
And I think there's just a lot of merit into trying to win back the board in this position. And I think Killen recognizes the spot he's in. He needs to expend his resources, but when he picks up that Auctioneer, it's losing a little bit more power with each expenditure of his resources.
The scheme topsy-turvy is so funny. It's like, 0-0, kill your guy.
Yeah.
I was thinking like scheme plus like forbidden words or scheme plus,
Right.
But no, just scheme topsy. Out of here, you're dead.
It's a very useful combo.
0 plus 0. I do remember when scheme was revealed, we talked about, well, this could make sense in some sort of Miracle Priest deck. I don't know what that looks like, But,
yeah, when we were doing the card reviews on Hearthstone, yeah. Although, you know, usually when we say those things, we're just trying to like cover all kinds of possibilities. I mean, I wasn't sure actually how good it would be, and now it's starting to make a resurgence on ladder. It's pretty cool to see. So, you know, now you're in Yueying's camp. You have a couple of options here. None of them seem super. Whoa, okay.
He trades.
Well, okay. I wasn't expecting Tempo Greenskin here. I mean, he knows the Waggle pick is out there, so I was like, okay, maybe he sets up like a mini Van Cleef, like a 4/4 instead. All right.
I like this, sort of looking at the you know, his available options here, because he is up against a deck that he knows has silence, right, which makes Van Cleef much less reliable.
Exactly.
You can easily see your opponent playing, you know, if you had, say, 2 small minions on board, like the Van Cleef and the deckhand.
Yep.
You know, Pyro into Silence Coin.
Right. No, it makes sense.
Dead. Here you have a 5/4. You're playing a deck that does not really remove minions very well.
Oh, more damage.
Well, now, yeah, I really like this from Yueying. He is just going in on the dagger.
Yeah, it is fairly vulnerable to a Mass Hysteria, but it's his best damage output, and it's kind of like what you're saying, like, this is the best way you can do with his hand. He still has more damage to back it up with the Waggle pick.
I mean, Killinallday down to 13. He may need to ooze this, which means your Waggle pick gets in the full damage.
Oh,
there is a silence.
Big pickup. That's 4 life.
But
he still can't deal with the Captain Greenskin.
yeah, the Greenskin's still around, and frankly, Killen's not advancing his own game plan whatsoever. You know, he hasn't been able to find any ability to really churn through his deck here.
Where's your Auctioneer, man?
He's got a Nomi instead.
This game might end up being just laughably one-sided, and it looks to be exactly that case. If Killen, okay, let's say he silences and heals for 5, he goes up to 18. 5, 8, 10, 14. Just picks up Leroy's
making
lethal.
himself a big Van Cleef.
Oh, this is clever.
Well,
holy smokes, it's going to get destroyed by Sap.
He's going in. He's deciding. I mean, and frankly, you know, while there is a Sap in the hand that's going to make this look ridiculous, I think Killen's recognizing that his deck's basic game plan is not going to work here. He needs to find something else.
16-16.
And Sap.
Well, and is it just dead?
This might just be lethal with the preparation.
Just dead.
And, rather than the eviscerate here.
Oh, my God.
It looked cool, though. He made himself a 16-16.
Oh, yeah. Look, this isn't dying. It's dying with style.
You got to get a big Van Cleef out there. It is true that no one's won the World Championship without Van Cleef. Well, he got his own. It wasn't even in his deck.